Hi, welcome to the Unit 3 Performance Task video. So for the Unit 3 Performance Task, what we're going to be doing is you guys are going to be utilizing your periodic trend knowledge, your data analysis and interpretation skills to analyze the plot of an unknown periodic trend. So a plot will have an x-axis and a y-axis, and then there will be points on that plot. And what you're going to analyze this for is to see if you can identify the trends going across a period and going down a group in the periodic table for this periodic trend. So this is a trend that you have not seen or have looked at before, so this is going to be something new. So you don't know what happens as you go across or as you're going to go down, but you're going to get that information from the plot. So let's talk about, before we go into what you're doing, let's talk about why we're doing this. As you know, or as you may recall, in chemistry this year, one thing we're focusing on is data collection, analysis, and interpretation skills. And we discussed before that this is not just a major part of a scientific investigation, it's also an important life skill because data gets thrown at you all the time and you have to know how to deal with it. And throughout this semester, we have been exploring data through our performance task. So for example, in Unit 1, you analyze data on pit bulls and you use that data to answer the question whether or not you think pit bulls should be banned. You also, in Unit 1, collected data on the density of quote-unquote gold coins to see if those coins were made out of real gold or not. And you compare that data to the density of pennies and of real gold. In Unit 2, you just recently collected data on the properties of matter, and you analyzed that data to determine whether or not to identify an unknown solid. In this unit, you're going to analyze data from a plot and use that to determine a periodic trend. So we looked at, before we looked at all the different types of representation or common representations of data. And in this performance task, we're focusing on plots. And the reason why we're focusing on plots is because plots, as you may remember, are useful for visualizing trends. And when we say trends, we're talking about direction, whether it's increasing or decreasing. And that's what we talk about when we talk about periodic trends. For example, going across a period, the atomic radius decreases. Going down a group, the atomic radius increases. So when we say trend, we're talking about increasing or decreasing. So if we're going to do that, if we're going to look at a plot like this and determine the periodic trend that matches that plot, what we need to do is we first need to sort of develop the skills that are necessary for analyzing a plot like this. And that's where the pre-performance task comes in. So what you're going to do for this pre-performance task is you're actually going to create your own plot from a known periodic trend. So the two periodic trends that we know that are quantitative, meaning they have numerical values, we know the atomic radius trend and we know the electronegativity trend. So you're going to take those two trends and you're going to make some plots. And then from those plots, you're going to see, well, okay, now that you have this plot, how would you analyze this plot to actually determine the trend? So first you create the plot and then you sort of go back and see how do you analyze it to determine the trend. And it's that last piece there, how do we analyze the plot to determine the trend? That's going to help you for your performance task because essentially that's what you're doing in your performance task. Okay, so how are we going to break this down? There are two plots that we're going to do. So group A is going to plot the atomic radii and group B is going to plot electronegativity. So you're going to be split up into groups A and groups B. And then both groups are going to see how they can identify trends from the plot. So let's start off with talking about how we're going to plot this data. And we're going to start with group A, they're doing the atomic radius. So first of all, there's a lot of atoms to look at, and we're going to just narrow it down to the first 20. So you're going to go from hydrogen all the way to calcium. Those are the only piece of information you're going to plot. Now, in a plot, you know that there's an x and a y-axis. So what goes on the x-axis and what goes on the y-axis? In both cases, on your x-axis, you're going to have the atomic number. Again, the atomic number tells you the number of protons, and it's that single, it's the whole number that's in the periodic table. So for both of them, you're going to put the atomic number in the x-axis. The y-axis will be the periodic trend. So in the case of atomic radius, it's going to be the atomic radii for elements 1 through 20. So you can see here that we just have the atomic radii 1, 2, 3, all the way to 20. And then on the y-axis, what we'll do is we'll use this data, and we see for our first element, hydrogen, it has an atomic radius of 53. Helium, which has an atomic number of 2, it's a second element, it has an atomic radius of 31, so I put that here. For lithium, which has the atomic number of 3, it's the third element, it has atomic radius of 167, so I put that there. So on and so forth, all the way till I get to calcium, which has an atomic radius of 194. Group B electronegativity, you're going to do the same sort of thing, where again in your x-axis you're going to have the atomic number, and on the y-axis you're going to have the electronegativity. Well, there's something I want to note about electronegativity. So as you can see for the first one, hydrogen, it's 2.20, and that's great. So we can go ahead and put that in. But then for helium, there's nothing. So remember, for the noble gases, group 18, they don't have electronegativities, so we're going to leave those blank. So when I get to 2, the element with atomic number 2, which is helium, I'm just going to leave that blank because it doesn't have it. I will keep the atomic number in there, but I'll leave the electronegativity value blank. All right, so then I go to the third one. That's lithium. It has an electronegativity of 0.97. I go ahead and write that in. I keep doing that all the way till I get to 20, which is calcium, and it has electronegativity of 1.04, and I put that in. So this is the information that you are going to plot, your atomic number and your periodic trends. Okay, so let's look at the mechanics of that. What does that exactly look like? You will notice in Google Classroom that you have the access to this spreadsheet. And in this spreadsheet, you'll see you have the atomic symbols listed for elements 1 through 20, so hydrogen all the way to calcium. And here you have a column for your atomic number and your electron, and in this case, it's the electronegativity plot, so you have it for the electronegativity. For the atomic number, what you first need to do is you need to put those values in. So we're going from 1 to 20. Hydrogen has atomic number 1, helium 2, lithium 3, beryllium 4, boron 5, etc. So you're going to keep going, filling that in until you get to 20. Then what we're going to do is we're going to use the information in the periodic tables that you saw before to put in our trend values. So since we're doing electronegativity, let's just go back here. We see that the electronegativity for hydrogen is 2.20. Just a quick note that these look like commas. They are commas, but they represent decimals. So this is 2.20. So I go ahead and put that in. The next one that I see is helium. Again, it's a group 18 noble gas. So we're going to leave that one blank. So I'm just going to skip that. Just leave it blank. It's totally fine. Then we're going to go to lithium, which is the third one. It's 0.97. Then the fourth one here is beryllium, 1.47. And then finally, the next one is boron, 2.01. Okay, great. So now that you have your plot, you're going to do, of course, you'll do the rest of them. You'll do all 20. I'm just going to do the first 5. What we're going to do now is we're going to take this data and we're going to plot it. So the way that we'll do that is, remember, you want to highlight all of these boxes. So I'm going to click on the upper left box. I'm going to hold down the Shift key and then click on the lower right box. And now I have all of the boxes for my data highlighted. Again, you'll do yours all the way up to 20. And now I want to go to Insert, and I want to go to Chart. So I'm going to insert my chart. And for me, it automatically gives it to me as a bar graph, which I don't want. I want to go to a scatter plot. So I'm going to click on the, I'll do that again. So I click on this edit chart here, and I'm going to scroll down to for the chart type. I'm going to scroll down and look for the scatter. So this is the one I want. Again, I want to show you to you. I want this scatter one with all the dots. Okay, so when I have that there, I can sort of start seeing or looking at trends. Of course, you would have more data on yours than I have on mine because yours would go all the way out to 20, so you can really see trends there. But we do have some points on here. So after you have your plot, then you're going to answer the questions. You'll do the same thing for the atomic radii. So I already put the first 5 in for the atomic number versus the atomic radii. So again, you'll do the same thing. You're going to click on the upper left and the lower right, and you're going to insert your chart. If you need to change it like I do, you go to the side here, chart type, look for scatter, and then that'll give you a certain type of plot there. Okay. All right, so after you have your plots, again, there you have questions in your packet that you're going to answer, and then we're going to come back together so you guys can exchange those who did A, those who did B. We'll discuss the information that you saw. All right, folks, hope you found this information helpful. Have a quality day.